All right, everybody, welcome to Club Import and Cars and Chatter. Today we're going to have a podcast. I'm here with Adam, and of course my name is Sipon, as most of you guys know. What's up, Adam?
Nothing much, man. What's up with you?
Same old, just enjoying the drive.
Dude, long drive here, honestly. Long drive for me, at least.
It took me about 15 minutes, I don't know about you.
50?
15.
Oh yeah, it took me 50.
We also want to thank Maya Motors for allowing us to use this location, and Peter for helping us set up with the camera gear and all that good stuff. So, I mean, there's a lot going on in the car culture right now.
Very
from
true.
everything from laws coming out as far as tuning the ECU, and of course exhaust. We all kind of fallen into that crack a little bit.
Definitely.
But we're here to talk about a little bit more about the Q50, the Q60, and of course we'll touch base on the 400Z. And a bunch of you guys also asked a few questions regarding as far as on Instagram we put a post out to see what everybody wanted us to talk about. We'll actually touch base on that as well, so keep an eye out on that.
Alright, so I had a question for you.
Go for it.
As for new parts that are coming for like the VR30, Q50, Q60 platform, have you heard of anything new that's coming out, or new technology or something that's coming towards these cars?
There is a couple of parts coming out. Technology-wise, I don't know that much about it. I know that there's a lot of parts being in the works, especially from Drop Air and a couple others. Now, I forgot who it was the other day. I saw a post that they were actually, Mishimoto. There we go. Sorry, guys. They're actually making intercoolers as well. I know Drop Air is actually making them as well. But it looked promising for both sides. I can't really talk about it because I haven't seen the product. I haven't seen much detail as far as what goes on behind it, but both companies are great companies. One's been there for a long time. I'm not too sure about Drop Air because it's a new company to me personally.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly how long they've been out there, but both companies are very good. I can say that I've seen a lot of good reviews about Drop Air and a lot of good reviews for the other. It's just a matter of, what people are willing to pay at the end of the day for.
Seriously, yeah.
I do know there's a wide body kit in the works.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a third wide body kit that's going to come out. I can't really talk about it. I do know it's stalled because of the whole COVID situation.
Okay.
I do know there's another bumper in the works with that body kit, front bumper, not rear. The rear is a little iffy to work with because there's so much space, you just don't know what to do with it.
Okay.
I tried to mingle with it a little bit, tried to offset it, do a couple of different designs, and I think I went through 3 different rear bumpers, and my buddy Aro can actually vouch for that because we gave like a couple of bumpers to the guy and told him the measurements that it needed to be cut because I don't have the right machines to clean cut it.
Yeah.
But everything else was done by hand, but it just didn't come out right. It either looked like a BMW M4 or it looked like a BMW X5M.
Yeah.
So it just, I couldn't deal with it. As far as other technology stuff, not too sure. How about you?
I honestly haven't heard too much. I'm hoping, and you can touch on this as well, I'm hoping that as soon as they drop the 400Z, that other companies are kind of going to branch into working with VR30s and kind of coming out with more parts. Have you heard of anything coming with the 400Z and the VR30?
I mean, at the end of the day, the way I look at it is, for example, AMS Performance.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying AMS Performance because I'm sponsored by them. I'll also mention Z1. They both are great companies and they both have great add-ons to these cars. Now, I can't really say much about that either because at the end of the day, you hear a lot of people, drop the Q50, Q60, or actually, just the Q60.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that.
Go for the 400Z, it's a much better car.
Yeah.
How are you going to say it's a much better car without having to, driven it, see it in person, and see what's under the hood? The only post that I actually saw that was actually kind of intriguing and actually got me reading was Z1 posted something about the turbos where they believed it seemed to look bigger, but not really. And then a couple other things here and there. The slave cylinder for the transmission was actually on the outside versus to the inside this time around.
Okay.
So it's It's going to be better overall as far as for the transmission and for the driver himself or herself. But guys, listen, at the end of the day, you can't take everything that everybody tells you and run with it. Take it with a grain of salt, because if I were to tell you go buy the 400Z right now, I'd look at myself in the mirror and be like, are you stupid? I mean, why would I tell you go buy a 400Z if the car's not even out yet?
Yeah, it's very true.
I haven't driven it. I mean, Downey Nissan actually had one yesterday.
Really?
I was gonna go see it, and I think it's the same one that's just going around from dealer to dealer.
The blue one?
Yeah, the blue one. But listen, at the end of the day, wait for the car, wait for it to come out, see what kind of numbers it does, and if Nissan did what BMW, Mercedes have been doing for the past few years, downplaying the numbers as far as horsepower wise, the car is promising. But I'm not gonna tell you go buy that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Adam, I know that you've been one of the OGs as far as the SoCal scene goes, as far as the Q60 VR30 goes. Tell me a little bit about your car, how you feel about it, where it came from, and what you're doing with it, and where you want to go with it.
I mean, my car personally, I honestly, so when I first got into the Q60 platform, one of my really good friends, Jordan, he actually purchased the Q60, and I used to own a shop in Garden Grove where I would do like mods for people, basic maintenance and stuff. He had brought his car in as soon as he got it for downpipes, exhaust, heat exchanger, and all that stuff. So I kind of did the mods to his car, and then I found like as soon as I started working on his car, like it was really user friendly, the power was really good, it had all bunch of luxury, so I was really like intrigued with the car. So he had it for about a year. I think he had a 2017.
Okay.
And at that time, I had just sold my daily, and I was looking for something new, for something sporty. So I just immediately went to the dealer and jumped in one. I traded in my car, jumped into that, and I can honestly say like I fell in love with the car. I mean, the power is super good. There's so many parts for it. The scene is like really big when it comes to Infiniti. Like I was really surprised when I hopped on the forums and saw how many people were on the forums for it. My car, it's downpipe, exhaust, heat exchanger, intakes, tune, and it is super fun. Super fun on the streets, super fun at the track. I mean, you've seen I've taken my car to the drag strip. I mean, I have drag wheels on it right now, and I mean, just being on the drag strip and pulling up to somebody and taking them in an Infiniti, people are like, oh damn, like what is this?
Yeah.
Like, or they'll come up to you after and be like, dang dude, your freaking car's fast and it sounds good, and then you start getting into it, because I've noticed at least that Infinitis, especially Q60s, you don't see a lot of them.
Yeah.
You only see a few of them. So like when I pull up to a car show or I go to a meet and people are like, dang, like what is that? I always have people come up to me and like ask me like, oh, what motor does that have? Is that a 3.7? Is it like, just ask me a bunch of random questions, and then I start explaining it to them. And they're like, damn, never even looked at this car. Little do they even know that the Q50 and the Q60 is the same motor.
Yeah.
Like everybody still thinks it's 3.7. Not too many people know that they come turbo now, that's a VR30. So, I mean, that's kind of how I got into it. I really love the car. And what about you?
As far as my car goes, I mean, a lot of you know that the car's been out for a year and a half. Don't want to talk about it. We'll get into it in about 2 years. But it's not for what everybody thought it was. You know, I was getting DMs, oh, did you blow your engine? Did you blow your turbos, etc., etc. I'll tell you guys this much. It's not, these cars aren't as bad as everybody says they are.
That's very true.
You know, working at the dealership point of view, you see some of these guys come in and they have a big bore high pressure fuel pump in the car, but they have OEM injectors.
So you think it's a lot of the problems come from user error?
I really think so. I really think so, especially, you know, when I walk through a service and I'll see the same person in there for the same issue constantly. The car just can't have the same issue constantly as much as everybody would think it does, versus you're not modifying the car correctly. If you're running a big port high pressure fuel pump, low pressure fuel pump, and you're running E85, your injectors aren't going to go.
Yeah.
And then whatever follows after that, is the consequences of it.
Or they don't even change the fuel rails.
Or they don't change the fuel rails. But as far as my car goes, it's been through so many different stages. Right now, I think I'm on the third, technically the second color, because the original color is black, and right now I'm satin black.
And you're an OG in the scene for the Q60.
I wouldn't say that, but I appreciate it. Thank you. But as the bumper took a little bit longer than I expected to finish because work, had a kid last year, so
yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. So it took a lot away from me being able to work on the car, but at the same time, the car overall right now has, of course, full catback, downpipes, tune, intakes, heat exchanger. The list goes on, but again, if anybody wants to see the service records, whatever they want, I can pull the national database just to prove that never had a blown engine.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, touching back on the whole VR30 engine, it just goes back on the driver. Listen, if you're gonna modify the car, modify it correctly. If you're gonna put boo-boo parts on your car, don't expect your car to run like your side check.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. It's what you put in the car is what you get out of it at the end of the day. And I'll tell that to everybody that comes into the shop. And a lot of people will come in and they'll be like, oh, I know C-Pump. And the service guys will come and grab me. They're like, do you know this guy? I'll be like, no, I don't. But okay, well, what can I help with? Mm-hmm. Well, I blew my turbos. Okay, why'd you blow your turbos? Well, I think it's because I have full downpipes, catback tune, but I don't have a heat exchanger and I don't have intakes, I don't have this. Again, intakes wouldn't be the cause of blowing the turbos, but at the end of the day, if you're going to modify it correctly. Don't just add parts one by one. If you have a lot of modifications that you want to do to the car, and I've recommended this to everybody, if you're going to do a lot of engine work to the car, get all the parts together and install it all at once.
Yeah.
Don't just do it one by one, because if you're going to tune the car, you put a heat exchanger, you put downpipes, catback, and afterwards you want to add, high pressure fuel pump, you're going to have to go back to tuning and this and back and forth. So if you're thinking that you're going to do all this stuff, do it all at once and do it right. And no, I'm not telling everybody just to get AMS parts. I'm saying get whatever part you want, but don't complain about the part later on if you didn't do something right.
And I get a bunch of questions all the time from a bunch of people, like they just get into a Q60 or just get into a Q50, and they want to know like the first 2 top mods to go with the car. Me personally, I always tell them the first thing to do is a heat exchanger.
Okay.
But from your perspective, what would you suggest to the person for the first few mods?
Being in SoCal, it has to be a heat exchanger.
Yeah.
I always tell everybody, I'll ask them first if you're a Southern California person. If you are, heat exchanger is a must, because at the end of the day, we all know where all those cars are going to go. It's either Azusa Canyon or Angeles Crest. So we all know where these cars are going to go. But if you're going to modify it, do it right. Get the heat exchanger, and some people will go all out and get, the best of the best. I don't say get the best of the best. I'm going to tell you, look into what you're going to do as far as the car goes, and then go about it that way. If you're going to track it, get best of the best, because at the end of the day, if you know you're going to push the car to its limits, you don't want to cheap out on certain things here and there. Mm-hmm. And we've seen what happens when we cheap out on these cars.
Yeah.
So,
what are the goals for your car? Because I know your build list extensively goes past anybody I've seen, honestly, in the Q60 scene. So I'm just kind of curious, what's your end goal?
My end goal on this car is actually, at this moment, it's on a full stop, because I with the exception of the tuning revisions that I'm doing on the car right now, I don't think I'm going to do anything much more for the next year, because I just want to enjoy the car.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I had the car 2 months before it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I've been with Infiniti for 13 years, 10 plus 13, 14 years, whatever the number is, I've lost track. And it was actually given to me, not as a gift, but at a certain price point that I can't really discuss.
Yeah.
But ever since I had it, I drove it for, I want to say 3 weeks, stock, and 3 weeks or 3 months, it was the time frame on it.
You have a red sport?
Yeah, I have a red sport. And my buddy Joe will always bring it up, and he'll be like, "Bro, you only had the car for like 3 months or 3 weeks, and you just started doing all these modifications to it." I literally, the first year, only drove the car for about 4 months. And I drove it for a whole year and a half. So 2.5 years into it, out of the 3+ years that I've had the car, I think I've probably driven it for about 1.5, 2, because of all the things that goes on with it. So I want to enjoy it a little bit. And I want to drive it around, but you know, we're in Southern California. Especially places where I work at, cops are not too friendly. So.
Very true, very true. CHP is not the best.
No. I mean, coming here, I got pulled over.
Yeah.
And the guy was trying to tell me I was speeding, but showed him the dash cam, he had nothing to say. So that's another thing, guys. Nice modification, get a dash cam, it'll save your life, trust me.
Yeah, and the radar.
Oh, tell me about it.
And the radar.
So what's your end goal?
Ah, man, I mean, I've had my car for 2 years now on its current setup. I haven't really changed too much. I have been looking into doing my fuel pumps, injectors, stock turbo. Just want to keep it stock turbo for now.
Okay.
I've ran the car, my quarter mile has been a 12.0. I haven't gotten to an 11. Then I was running on street tires, spinning through second gear, never getting a good launch. I haven't taken it with like the full drag setup yet, so I'm sure I could get into the 11s now. But I mean, with fuel system, like full fuel system, low pressure fuel pump, high pressure fuel pump, injectors, rails, flex fuel, the whole 9 yards. I'd like to be mid 11s. I mean, I've seen rear wheel drive cars. I mean, they just did the rear wheel drive record, right? Was it 10.2?
I think it was 10.3. I think 10.34. No. Wait, who was it that just did a 10.34?
It was the black built motor Q50. I don't know his name on Instagram, but
the guy with the red wheels, right?
Yeah, with the beadlocks.
Hey, if you're watching this, comment below. I want to make sure we give you some credit on that.
Yeah, shout out to that guy.
Yeah, seriously.
Shout out to that guy.
I don't know if it was rear wheel drive or all wheel drive.
Yeah, it's a rear wheel drive.
Okay, so make sure you comment below if you're watching this. We want to see, or you know.
I want to see him get into the 9s.
Yeah, exactly. If you can get into the 9s, hey man, more power to you. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to be in like the mid 11s. I mean, I kind of want just like a fast, fun daily car. Something I could be in the street. I mean, I live in Irvine, so I see Teslas all day. Like, every time at a stoplight, I'm racing a Tesla or something happening. I mean, I don't condone racing on the street. You guys shouldn't do that. But I mean, having fun here and there on stoplights is pretty fun. So yeah, like 11.5s. I mean, aesthetically, I'll probably end up wrapping the car. My car's gray, so it's pretty basic color. Everybody with the Q60 is gray. I do have a Luxe also. I don't have a Red Sport. But I mean, the car's super fun. I really enjoy it. I really have fun with it. So just a fuel system and try to cap it for there.
So I'm kind of gonna go into like a trolling kind of conversation here right now.
Okay.
What do you think about the whole thing that's been going on between the Luxe models and the Red Sport models? I know it's a sensitive subject to touch on because you know everybody's been like, oh, Red Sport's this, Luxe is better, you can get more horsepower out of this.
Okay, so me personally, if I would have went back, I would have got a Red Sport.
Why?
Because of the interior differences.
Okay.
I think that if you just want to get into a Q60 and you don't care about the price and you're not too like knick-knack about all the stuff, I would get just a Luxe or a Pure.
Okay.
Because like that's what I have. I really enjoy it, but I know that like my car doesn't come with heated seats.
Okay.
It doesn't come with paddle shifters. It doesn't come with the big brakes. I mean, my car does have the big brakes. I did upgrade them, and I did put a paddle shifter kit on it. But still, like I think Red Sports come with cooling seats too, right?
No, they don't. But the Luxe actually does come with heated seats too. It's an option. You could have gotten it as an option. But,
yeah. But even the Red Sport, like the seats, the carbon accents, like there's just a lot more things and like navigate. Well, you can get navigation too in a Luxe.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Red Sport just like has a lot more. But I think if you just want to get into the platform, I don't see the much power difference. If you're gonna tune the car, you're gonna tune the car. The big obstacle with the Red Sports is the optical sensors on the turbos, right? I don't really see anything other than that.
I mean, I wouldn't even call the optical sensors on the turbos as an obstacle. I think it has its plus sides and it has its negatives at the same time. However, like for example, if you're going on Pure Turbo's website and you're trying to buy their turbos, it actually asks you what kind of turbos, what kind of a car you have, right? That'll ask you if you have a red sport or not. There's a reason those sensors are there. And I'm not really going to get into it because I feel like everybody's just going to start fighting on me, fighting against me with it. Because at the end of the day, I don't care.
Want to see a war in the comment section.
At the end of the day, I really don't care whether who drives a Pure or Luxe, even though we'll get into what's going to be happening with the Q60s a little bit too. I told you about this. I think Motor One talked about it, but we'll talk about it and I'll post the article as well. Listen, guys, we, as far as the guys that have been here long enough, as far as the Q50, Q60 go, we really don't care whether you drive a Pure, a Luxe, or a Red Sport, or a Silver Sport, as a matter of fact.
I think it's just the people that, right when they buy their cars, it's like when you see in the forum chatter.
Yeah, and then you'll see like the 3.7s talk crap about the 2.0s, and then the VR30 guys will come in and talk crap about the 3.7s.
But I've seen the 3.7s using the VR transmissions.
Yeah,
I've seen that too.
Yeah.
So
hey,
keep it down.
Yeah, keep it down. But I mean, as far as everything else goes, these cars are capable of a lot.
Yeah.
They are sensitive, but I will tell you before we continue, don't do your oil changes every 10,000 miles, please, for the love of God.
God, no.
I get asked this question all the time. Is it okay if I do my oil changes at 10,000 miles? No, it's not okay. Yeah, but the owner's manual says. If the owner's manual says go jump off a bridge, are you going to go jump off a bridge?
Yeah.
Listen, monitor your oil levels, monitor your coolant levels, and I personally change my oil at the least at about 4,000.
Yeah.
That's the most I'll go without.
I usually stick under 5.
And it depends on how you drive.
Yeah.
For example, when I go out to SEMA, as soon as I come back, I don't care if I did the oil change last month, because I know on the road is going to be a little bit fun here and there.
Yeah.
I'm going to change the oil as soon as I get back. So, don't change your oil at 10,000 miles.
Yeah. I'm not that tedious on changing my oil, as long as, I'll check the levels every here and there, always checking the coolant levels, because one big thing with the cars, you do want to check your oil and you do want to check your coolant all the time. I say at least every month.
Okay.
At least once a month.
Okay.
This is also if you're like abusing your car. You know what I mean? Like me, I drive my car every day. I have fun driving my car every day. I get tickets all the time. I can say my exhaust is really loud, and we do live in California, obviously. But for me, like I want to consistently check it every month, at least every 2 months, because you never know what's gonna happen. You never know if it's drinking a little bit of coolant, if it's drinking a little bit of oil, because these cars, like, you do have to keep up with the maintenance. Number one thing, you have to keep up with the maintenance, because if you don't, you're gonna be at the dealer for a problem.
And you're gonna come in and be like, I know CPON. I'm gonna come out and be like, I don't know who you are. But no, I'm just joking. Hey, if you're a ticket dismissing company out there and you want to sponsor the show,
please, ticket dismissers, hit us up, please.
I didn't want to mention that, but hey, you said, hey, you guys watching, make sure you guys sponsor the show.
Yeah, please.
But touching base again back onto the whole VR30 community. I think the community is big enough, but one of the things that I dislike the most about it, that really, as Peter says all the time from Family Guy, grinds my gears, is people will say this spoiler is too much when it's $350, but they'll buy the same spoiler from eBay like 6 times.
Yeah, oh God. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Please guys, just stop. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're gonna spend $150 plus, whether it's free shipping or $50, just spend an extra $100 to get something quality wise.
Yeah.
I told this to my buddy. He asked me, he goes, what kind of spoiler lip should I get? I said, listen, just buy something that has quality into it, because I don't really know as far as like what kind of lips are out there, because I made the
bumper and stuff.
I made a lip specifically for that bumper. But I told him, listen, if you can find something that has quality, and if you find something that's a little bit cheaper, he goes, yeah, the one that's cheaper, it's like $80 cheaper. I go, are you paying for shipping? He goes, yeah, $50. Dude, just pay $30 more and pay another $30 more and get something more quality. Yeah, as far as that goes. So guys, if you're gonna spend money on your car, spend it on quality.
And do your homework.
Yeah.
Because there is people that do buy them off eBay and just bring it back and resell them. So do your homework on the parts that you buy. And that's a lot of the people that sell cars, honestly, that I've seen. I don't want to say names,
but we're not going to get into it. All right, Adam, I know we had a couple of guys ask us a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
I think I picked 3 or 4 of them. So, you want to get some out?
Yeah.
Answer some of the questions.
I don't know about you, but I got a lot of dumb questions.
Eddie, you're forbidden from asking me any more questions or commenting any questions. Period. I don't know why Caesar always has to get involved in one of these. Caesar.
Seriously.
Go for it. What's your first one?
All right, so I got a question from Chato 3.0T.
Okay.
3 best things to buy performance-wise for the Q60.
Go for it.
Heat exchanger, intakes, and I would say exhaust.
In my personal opinion, I would go with the heat exchanger, intakes, and an expansion tank.
Oh, okay, true. Yeah, I didn't think about that one.
Yeah, I think that, again, it depends where you live. So, for me, especially being in SoCal, I will do those 3 things.
I actually take mine back. I want to say instead of the exhaust, lower downpipe. I think lower downpipe, you get way more benefits than just doing the exhaust.
And one of the other things that I would say is if you're going to get lower downpipe, just not be careful, but like understand that the car is going to have a little bit more air to breathe. So you might get a little tricky as far as that goes. Because I've seen a couple of cars come in with just lower downpipes and no other modifications. And when you try to floor it, the car shoots up the RPM to like 7,000, and then it just like boosts. It's like literally having brake boost without having brake boost.
Oh, okay. So
that's one. Sorry if I butcher this, but Quentin Pemberton's says, I'm looking to get a Q60. Which trim did you go with and why? I personally went with the Red Sport because it was kind of a gift to me. It all depends what you're trying to get out of the car or what you want in the car. Mine had all the technology stuff. Don't really care much for it, but I will say it saved me here and there, depending on where you live and drive and all that stuff. But I just went with Q6 Red Sport. So
yeah, I mean, me personally, going with the Luxe. I mean, seeing everybody have the options of a Red Sport makes me want that stuff. But I mean, what's the price difference between a Luxe and a Red Sport? Almost 20 grand, right?
Well, it depends. It depends on the year, option to options, but base Luxe on a Red Sport, give or take about 10 grand here and there, probably.
So if you have the money to spare,
yeah,
I would get it to a Red Sport.
Back Q50 question is changes to the motor between the Z and the Q. I think personally it's a little early to discuss, even though there are some articles out there talking about it, but talking from a manufacturer's point of view and corporate talk, you could say, I think it's a little bit too early to talk about it because right before the car comes out, they can always change things up here and there. Just like I mentioned in the beginning, Z1 did say that there's a possibility that the turbos are bigger. So that's one, I guess you could put in parentheses, fact that they might have bigger turbos, but you never know. So, but I think it's a little bit early to talk about that.
Yeah, I got another question from VR__ Hernandez. What are the pros and cons between full downpipes, catted versus non-catted?
What? Sorry.
The difference between running full catted downpipes versus non-catted downpipes.
I mean, personally, from experience, full downpipes with no cats, you're gonna get smoke here and there.
Yeah.
Not all. And the smoke. With catted, you're still gonna get some smoke and some smell, but not as much as you would with just non-catted downpipes. But then again, it goes back to modifying your car. If you're going to modify your car, you know what you're getting yourself into. And going back to modifying your car, make sure you do your research before you buy anything. It doesn't matter whether you're buying downpipes, intakes, or whatever it is. Do your research, see what and how much each part is, and go accordingly.
Me personally, I have non-catted downpipes. I think performance-wise, you make a little bit more torque.
Yeah.
Getting tuned versus catted. A lot of people with the Q60s and Q50s want to shoot flames. You can't do that with cats. I've seen too many people do that and blow their cats. So if you plan on trying to get a tune to shoot flames, you need non-catted downpipes.
My next question is from Swaggy Sebas. Is the Q60 a good first car? I'm 19, have good credit and a full-time job, but right now I'm driving my parents' old, looks like a Ford can to me, pickup truck or whatever it is.
He asked me the same question.
Did he ask you the same question? Yes and no. I really wish we had like a Q60 Grand Coupe option.
Insurance-wise?
No, just like, not insurance-wise. I mean, personally speaking, 19-year-old, yeah, your insurance is going to be stupid high. But I think just overall space in the car.
Yeah.
I mean, can't really say much because I'm 6'5" and big dude, but it's a great car overall. The money you pay for it, you get more technology and more features in the car versus to other makes. And yeah, a lot of people will say, oh, it depends on which you get. You don't get Apple CarPlay, but who cares? My wife's car has Apple CarPlay. I barely use it, and you can always get the Joy Auto, module, and just wrap it on and go. To answer your question, it's a good car to have. I don't know whether it's a good car to have as your first car at 19 years old, but that's not my place to decide whether you should get it or not. But if you really like it, go for it.
I mean, when I was 19, I had a 300ZX.
Oh wow.
I had a 300ZX in that Tacoma. That was like the first performance car I got, so technically, kind of like the Q60, you know?
Yeah, kind of.
So, but I got another question from Carlos_48408. Stock intakes first or heat exchanger?
I say heat exchanger.
Okay, yeah, same. I agree with that 100%.
And again, depends where you live.
Yeah.
If you live in Alaska, where the weather is always at a nice 68 degrees, you don't really need it. But if you're in SoCal, I would say heat exchanger, or anywhere like New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, heat exchanger is a must. You got another one?
Yeah.
All my other ones are about Caesar. I don't know why. I think everybody's in love with Caesar.
I guess. Okay, so J4Cs asked, will everything for the Q60 be more expensive and harder to find after Infiniti discontinues it?
Yes and no. So when it comes to OEM parts, every manufacturer, when they discontinue it, they have to have at least 10 years worth of parts in stock for that vehicle. Any manufacturer, any car that comes out and is discontinued, they have to have 10 years worth of parts. There's only one manufacturer in the world that you can have a 1928 car, you call them up, and they'll get you whatever part you want.
Yeah.
They'll make it fresh. You know which one that is?
Lamborghini?
No. Porsche.
Really?
Porsche is the only company in the world, if you have a 1928 Speedster, and I don't know if there's a Speedster or not, but I'm just throwing it out there. And you call them, you tell them you need a hood, they will make the hood. Color coded and everything.
Wow.
They're the only company that does it.
Interesting. I actually have a question.
Go ahead.
If you were to go back and getting a Q60, would you go for rear wheel drive or all-wheel drive? If you were to do it again.
Rear wheel drive. But fun fact about that, when I was looking for the Q60, or wasn't looking for the Q60, I was actually this close to buying an RC.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And only a few people knew about that. But I thank God for that moment when I walked into that dealership. It was Keys Lexus in Van Nuys. I don't think they're called Keys Lexus anymore.
Okay.
Or I don't know. Maybe they are, but I walked in, sat down with the salesperson. The general sales manager came in, and it was a demo model. I believe it was orange. I don't know the color name, but I knew it was a demo model. The car had about 5,000 or 6,000 miles on it. And I offered them, I said, listen, your special on these cars on a brand new one is X amount down, 750, 798.
Yeah.
This is a demo model. I know you have right down money. I'm in the business. I understand how this works. I'm not gonna jack around. I'll give you $4,000 down. I want to be at $650 a month. The guy started laughing, and he said, "No, I'll sell it as a new car." I said, "Okay, you keep it as a new car." So I walked out of that dealership. The GSM actually came after me and said, "What if we do?" It was a $30 or $40 higher. But at that moment, it wasn't more about the money. It was just about the principle, because he laughed at me for offering what I offered.
Yeah.
So I told him no. And then I think it was like a few weeks, maybe a couple of months later after that is when the Q60 was about to roll out. Roll out? I don't remember what it was. But that's when I ended up getting the Q60. And I'll still stick with the rear wheel drive.
Interesting. I honestly think if I was to go back, I would go for all-wheel drive.
Yeah, I could see you doing that just because I know you go to the track strip.
Yeah, that's the exact reason.
I really don't care for it because my car is not really a race car.
Yeah.
Even though it's a 2.0 4-cylinder, it only has about 200 horsepower, guys. So, but
Same as Caesar.
yeah, same with Caesar. Actually, no, Caesar has I think 202.
Oh, really?
So he has an extra 2 horsepower.
My bad.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's what you prefer, and I've always had rear-wheel drive cars, with the exception of one car, which was an SUV, and I don't think I'll get anything but a rear-wheel drive.
Interesting. So, I kind of want to get into talking about the 400Z.
Okay.
I think it's kind of the right time towards the end, right?
Uh-huh.
So, what do you think about the 400Z? We'll start off with like the Luxe, then we'll go into performance and interior and stuff like that. What do you think about it? What is your favorite thing about the 400Z?
The rear.
What you do? The rear? Because it looks like 300ZX.
Yes.
That's what's
The rear, as soon as I saw the rear, the first picture popped out, I was like, God damn, that thing looks beautiful.
The gray ones?
Yeah.
That we bought in the transport, yeah.
That thing, I think I posted in one of the Tuning Tuesday videos where one of the transport guys posted a video about it. The funny thing is, that guy actually got fired, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that guy got fired. At least from what I've heard. But I know there was this one guy actually in Japan from the Tochigi plant who would actually record himself driving the cars in the tracks. Because every car, by the way, when they make it, they have to drive it for at least 2 to 3 miles to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. They think these cars come here with 0 miles. There's no such thing as a 0 mile car unless you're buying a McLaren Speedtail.
Yeah.
Other than that, there is no such thing as a 0 mile car.
Yeah.
So if you're a customer, you walk into the dealership and you're mad at the sales guy for bringing you a car that has 12 miles on it, just stop.
Like mine had 9. I bought mine.
But yeah, the rear end has to be it for me, and the dash.
Oh yeah. I mean, my favorite thing is that it comes in manual.
Okay.
I want to say, appearance-wise, I agree with you 100% on the rear. I mean, like I said, I had a 300ZX, so as soon as I saw the rear, it just like clicked for me. I was like, damn, dude, this car is so nice.
I think that one thing that really irritated me the most about seeing pictures and videos was the analog clusters that they still had on the top.
Oh, okay.
I think they could have done better with that, personally. I wouldn't say it really irritated me, but I just felt like that.
You're talking about the 3 gauges.
Yeah.
Okay.
That they could have done something else with it to make it a little bit more pleasing. But at the end of the day, if I were to buy it, I'd still buy it just because of how beautiful the car is.
Yeah.
The front end, I mean, I'm 50-50, just like the BMW M3s and M4s that they have in pinion grills, but
It grew on me though.
you know, they're starting to grow on me too, but at the same time, when you see it in person, it is really good.
I think it looks better in person than
Yeah.
pictures, honestly.
Honestly, it is.
So now it kind of got me thinking. So the Supra comes with a 6-cylinder and a 4-cylinder.
Yeah,
Do you think that the 400Z is going to come with a 4-cylinder option as well?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because knowing, I mean, like 370s and 350s, they don't only come with one motor option.
I think just because the only reason I'm saying I don't think so is because of what Infiniti did, and Nissan did borrow the engine from Infiniti. And yes, Infiniti did make the engine, even though it's the same company. Nissan didn't make the engine. It was a combination of both that they created the engine. So it's not, or Nissan made it or Infiniti made it. it's technically Infiniti's motor.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that's not neither here or there. But I think what Infiniti did, getting rid of the 4.0s, that kind of tells you that the Nissan one have a excuse me, not 4.0, 4 cylinders. So I'm gonna say no.
So what do you think about it? Honestly, overall, the whole 400Z concept.
Great car, well, great looking car. From what I've read, it looks promising. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna tell you to go buy the car because the car's not even out yet.
Yeah.
I haven't driven it, I haven't gotten the feel for it. Is there going to be a big aftermarket community for it? Absolutely, just like how there was with the 370, 350.
Yeah, and hopefully that benefits us as well.
I think it will to a certain extent, but it's give and take for me at this moment. Whether I'll get rid of the Q60, which will never happen, or will I get a 400Z, which I don't think will happen because the next car, I already have a car in mind.
You guys BMW?
No.
No?
We actually had a discussion about this a couple of months back. I think the channel deserves a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think you're getting to where I'm at. There was a car in mind that I had, my buddy was going to sell it, and I think I'm going to buy it.
I think I might know what it is. Yeah. I'm not going to say nothing, but I think I might know what it is.
So what do you think about the car?
Overall, I think the looks are killer. I'm honestly waiting to see if, because they're coming in manual, I'm waiting to see if they're gonna start like doing like, I know they're already doing manual swap with the Q60, but I've just been thinking this nonstop. I'm curious to see if they're gonna start doing like manual swaps with the transmission that comes in the 400 with, in the Q60.
That's a good question.
Because I know Z1 came out with something, right?
Yeah,
or
they
Concept
did.
Z.
Concept, either one of those. I think it was Concept Z. Either way, whoever did, great job, guys. But I think that it's not going to be as easy as plug and play. I think there's going to be some different variations or adapters that you're going to have to get it working. Just like people, were asking me, okay, the 20s or 21s had Apple CarPlay. Can we put it in the 21s? No, you can't. Because these cars have like 4 or 5 or 6 ECUs, TCMs all over the car that need to be able to read off of one another.
Yeah.
And they all have specific VINs. So if you take one part from another car, you put it into that car, if it has to kind of read off of each other, your car's not going to work.
Okay.
So I don't think it's going to be as easy as everybody says. But again, it's too early to say. That's just my personal.
So going back to that question that was asked, I've heard a bunch of rumors about the Q60 being discontinued. What do you think about that?
So, from what I've read as far as articles go, Motor One or Motor, some website it was, I'll put it up, and I think Car Scoops talked about it back in August. There were some articles in July. They're talking about that 2020 year is the last year for the Q60. If the articles are correct, and if and I'll put it up on the screen for you guys to see, and I'll put the description links in the description as well. If the articles are correct, then I'm going to assume that the 2022 model year is going to be the last year. So 2023 is going to be the year that they're going to cut it. They're going to be sending it off basically. But that's not to say that there won't be an alternative. So
yeah, that kind of gets me thinking now. What is Infiniti's next move?
I think Infiniti's next move is going to be just like what everybody is going to be focusing on, depending on the next administration. And I don't want to get into politics, I really don't. But depending on the next administration that we're going to have, it's most likely looking towards electric vehicles. And I think that they're going to go away from having sedans and coupes and just go focus on SUVs and crossovers.
Interesting.
Just like a lot of the companies are, like for example, Ford barely has a sedan.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna kill off the Mustang as well.
Mach-E.
Well, no, not the Mach-E. For example, the Mustangs, they actually reduced the production of it. They're actually focusing on the Mach-E more than they are with the Mustangs.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah. All right.
well, guys, Adam, thank you for coming in.
Thank you
It was a
so
pleasure
much.
having you.
Follow me on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'll put his
Adamup.
description, and I'll put it up on the screen as well. Guys, if you guys have questions, make sure you hit us up, comment below, let us know if you like this video. If you did like it, hit that like button, subscribe to myself and Adam, and see you guys in the next video.
Thank you guys so much.